Hey guys, welcome back to Chariot Palmistry. My name is Sulabh Jain, and in this video we're going to be talking about the predictions over the next couple of weeks here, over September. And I get the feeling that this is going to be an important video because we're about to enter into a 4 to 8 week period where energy is going to be very scattered for a lot of people. Basically, Rahu and Ketu are going to wreak havoc all across the world and in everyone's life. You're going to notice a lot of people walking around like zombies. So let's have a look at this. So before we jump into the predictions for September and October, let me actually talk about August, because at the start of all of my videos, I always like to have a look back to see what we got right, what we got wrong, and where the energy is sitting for the world. So first up, here's a review of my predictions from the month of August. This is a screenshot from that video. Alright, so it's a pretty interesting month there. One of my predictions was that there'd be a new armed conflict that would be south to southwest of India. So basically Sri Lanka to the Africa region. And there was actually a coup in Niger that took place there. And in fact, just last night I found out that there was a second coup in Africa too. And this is in a country called Gabon, a place I hadn't even heard of until just the other day. So basically what's going on in both of these countries, in fact that whole region of Africa generally, is that they're former French colonies that just happen to have a lot of gold and uranium and precious resources like that. Russia wants to get their hands on those resources, so they've got a foot in this, and France wants to hold on to these resources as much as they can. In the meantime, no one's asking the African people in these countries what they want. So this is something that's been building up for quite some time now, and I think it's going to kick off very soon. So it seems that prediction came out okay. The second prediction, the Bitcoin price rise, did not end up happening. So I'm going to put a cross on this one. I got the timing right and that mid-August was going to be significant, but the prediction itself was completely wrong. My next prediction, that there'd be a stock market fall over most of August, pretty much took place. Although over the last 5 days, the market has been going up a fair bit. So generally a fall, so a tick on that one. Next is the oil price fall, which ended up happening as well. Although that one kind of went sideways for a bit. It went up and then down and started recovering, but a general fall over that month. The last prediction, gold price rise taking place from mid-August onwards. That one panned out too. I also put a warning at the end of the video about debt defaults or bond market chaos happening over October and November. And obviously it's too early to tell if any of that's going to happen now at the start of September. So that's the energy that ended in August, and just before I get into all the chaos that I think is going to be taking place over September and October, I want to be talking about what happened in Russia. Just the other day, the head of the Wagner group died in an airplane accident. Apparently there was a mechanical failure with a bomb on board, but it wasn't an assassination or some sort of political speak like that. The reason I want to talk about this specific event is because for a couple of years now, I've been mapping the energy of Russia onto that of Pakistan, China, and the US. In fact, we've been able to make predictions on what happens in all 4 of these countries just by looking at what happens in one of these countries. For example, a couple of years ago when Donald Trump got COVID, I came out and made a prediction that there's going to be a life-threatening event on the leaders of Pakistan, Russia, and China. And what ended up happening was the Russian, I think, opposition leader suddenly got radiation poisoning or something like that happened. There was an assassination attempt on a Pakistani prime minister. And the China one, we're not quite sure what happened there because news never comes out of China, especially about something as sensitive as this. But in either case, you can map sort of natural disasters across these countries that way. You can map pretty much all the events because their energy is so similar right now. Where I'm going with this is if there's been the death of a high-ranking military official, even though like Wagner's technically mercenaries, they're still kind of part of the Russian group, if that makes sense. If that guy has died in mysterious circumstances, that means we should keep an eye open for Pakistan military official dying pretty soon, or slipping and falling out of a window or that kind of thing. Or if an American military official or Chinese military official has a similar fate. It's going to be funny energy over the next few weeks, but in particular, I'd be looking at Pakistan, seeing as how it's the most unstable of all these places. Also, America's been having terrible bushfires lately. And as I said before, natural disasters in one of these countries maps into the other three directly. So keep your eyes and ears open over the next few months for natural disasters in these other three countries, China, Pakistan, and Russia. Okay, so that's the first point I want to make. Let's get on to why I think September and October are actually going to be very chaotic months. Because there's a lot of transits and conjunctions taking place over this time. I'm just going to give you a white screen here and list them all because it's quite a fair bit going on. The first thing is that Jupiter is going to be going retrograde on the 5th of September. That's in Aries, which is a fire sign. So we can expect to see a lot of people in that period of time just being irrational, crazy fools. The second thing is that there is a Sun and Ketu conjunction taking place on around about the 22nd or 23rd of September. And this is going to be a bad one because Ketu tends to suck the life right out of the Sun. And the Sun is more or less a representation of your soul and also your mind. So again, we're going to have a lot of zombie-like people just crawling the earth over that period of time. I'll be talking about how this affects like specific markets in a moment, but right now I just want to list out all the craziness first. Next, there's going to be a new moon on the 14th of October, and then on the 16th of October, the moon and Ketu go over the top of each other. And once again, Ketu is going to suck the life right out of the moon. And then in the last couple of days of October, there's going to be a Mars and Mercury conjunction, which always means a new armed conflict or a new war. There will also be a Rahu-Ketu transit taking place at the 31st of October, and I think there's also going to be a new moon event happening probably over the top of Rahu at around about that time as well. So there's all this stuff going on with Sun, Moon, Rahu, Ketu, and Mercury, Mars. There's a lot of craziness happening. But not only that, we're also in the time of the year where there's a lot of retrograde planets going on. So over September and October, we'll have Mercury retrograde. Currently, Venus and Saturn are retrograde too. Pretty soon, I think Jupiter is going to be retrograde and Mars at a later point this year. In either case, over the 9 main planets, there'll be 5 retrograde, and Rahu, Ketu, which are always retrograde. So 7 out of the 9 flipping or spinning backwards here. The only ones that won't be going retrograde are the Sun and Moon. The ones that by default cannot go retrograde. So the whole world is going to seem upside down over this period of time. And that's why most of my predictions over the month of September, I'm going to sort of give like a September-October time frame for them. Normally with my videos, I time them per 4-week interval, but in this case, it's going to be over 8 weeks just because there's a lot happening there. Now, having said that, let's talk about the actual predictions themselves. My first prediction is that there will be a stock market fall taking place over this period. I'm going to say it's generally over September, although I think it'll filter into October too. I'm also predicting a US dollar price fall taking place until the 3rd week of September. And that's roughly the time where the Sun goes over the top of Ketu. Whether you like it or not, the US dollar is the king of the world at the moment. And when the Sun, which represents the king, goes over Ketu and gets the life sucked right out of it, that deflates the energy of the king, which is the US dollar. That's the basis of my prediction there. I'm also predicting an oil price fall, and this is just a rollover from a prediction of the previous month. I predict a gold and silver price rise to take place from now until about the 2nd or 3rd week of September. After that point, as the Sun goes over Ketu, I'm predicting a gold and silver price fall taking place. My next 2 predictions is there will be an XRP price rise. Now, XRP is Ripple, and when I had a look at the hands of the CEO of that company, he had very strong Sun energy. So with the Sun going through this difficult period, I think the price is going to rise over the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then either go flat or go sideways after that point. But September should be a good month for this crypto. I'm also predicting a Cardano price rise taking place from the 2nd week onwards, and that should last for around about 2 weeks. this is another case where I've seen the hands of the CEO, and I think his energy is really good over this period of time. Alright guys, those are my predictions. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section below. Thanks a lot.